You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Frosty the Snowman was a happy, jolly soul, with a corncob pipe and a button nose and two eyes made out of coal. Frosty the Snowman is a fairy tale, they say. He was made of snow, but the children know how he came to life one day. There must have been some magic in that old silk hat they found, for when they placed it on his head, he began to dance around. Old Frosty the Snowman was as live as he could be, and the children say he could laugh and play just the same as you and me. The streets of town right through the traffic hot, And he only paused a moment when he heard them holler stop. Old Frosty the Snowman had to hurry on his way. But he waved goodbye saying, don't you cry, I'll be back again someday. Listening in the lane, snow is glistening, a beautiful sight. We're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland.
Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is a new bird.
He sings a love song as we go along, walking in the winter wonderland.
In the meadow we can build a snowman, then pretend that he's Parson Brown.
He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, ma'am. But you can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire
as we dream by the fire,
to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman, then pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, man. But you can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire
as we dream by the fire,
to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland.
Mixie Pixie is Santa's helper, high up in the Milky Way. She makes sure the stars keep shining so that Santa Claus can find his way. Even Rudolph needs Mixie Pixie just before he leads the sled. She makes his nose shine so brightly that for miles around the skies are red. That is why on Christmas Eve Santa never lost his way, delivering gifts to wonders to believe for you to find on Christmas Day. Mixie Pixie is always laughing as she stops to light each star. She knows she makes children happy when she's pointing out just where they are. Timble, tumble, little snowflake high up in the sky, drifting, dancing slowly earthward like a cotton butterfly, whirling, swirling, pretty snowflake landing in my hand. How you change the whole world into nature's winter wonderland. Every snowflake has a shape that's all its own. There are never two the same, like a spray of jewels on a silver throne. But the snowflakes put the juice to shame. Helter skelter, pure white snowflake, bound you know not where, changing children into angels, painting halos in their hair.
bum, bum, bum. Christmas bells are ringing. Hear that music fill the air. Happy voices singing Christmas carols everywhere. Santa Claus comes winging, north wind whistling through his hair. This is the sound of Christmas. Tiny footsteps creeping down the stairs on Christmas Eve. Eager eyes are peeping at the gifts that they'll receive. Old Saint Nick comes sneaking, it's too wondrous to believe. This is the sound of Christmas. A million bells, a billion laughs, the heart so young and gay. The oohs and ahs, the bedside prayers.
Please, Mr. Santa, won't you bring me a sleigh?
Mother starts her baking, bright and early Christmas Day. And there's no mistaking that a turkey's on the way. Time out now for taking all the family to pray. This is the sound, the happy, happy sound. This is the sound of Christmas.
Twas the night
Before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced through their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled ourselves for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the crest of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes did appear, but a miniature sleigh and a tiny reindeer.
with a little old driver so lively and quick, why, I knew in a moment he must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and he shouted and he called them by name.
Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Dunder and Blixen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all.
And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, why, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound.
He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his sack.
The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a boy
and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, everybody! This is a story of Christmas. Long, long ago, on a cold, bleak Christmas Eve, a grumpy old man named Ebenezer Scrooge sat busy in his office counting out his money and keeping close watch on his clerk, Bob Cratchit, through the open door. Now, Scrooge was such a mean man, he couldn't share the joy and spirit of giving, which everyone around him felt at Christmas time. And when his nephew came by to wish him a Merry Christmas, all Scrooge could say was, humbug! And he refused the young man's warm invitation to Christmas dinner. When it grew dark on that frosty Christmas Eve, old Scrooge went home to his empty and gloomy house and locked himself in. As he sat by the fire before going to bed, he was startled by an apparition.
Humbug, I'm seeing things.
But in an instant, Scrooge realized that standing before him was the ghost of Jacob Marley, his former business partner, who had died on Christmas Eve just 7 years ago.
Hear me, Ebenezer Scrooge. I am now doomed to walk forever over the world among my fellow men, because I shunned them and showed them little kindness in life. But I have come to warn you that you still have a chance to become a good man. At the stroke of one, on the next 3 nights, you will be visited by 3 spirits. Heed these, gentle spirit Scrooge, and you still will have a chance. Heed them well, heed them, heed them.
On the following night at exactly 1 o'clock, a spirit appeared.
I am the spirit of Christmas past. Come with me and see yourself as a child and younger man.
Scrooge saw how selfish he'd been toward all his loved ones in his youth, how he had cared for nothing but riches, and how he had grown more and more greedy with age. On the second night, the clock struck and the spirit of Christmas present appeared.
Come with me, Scrooge, to the humble home of your clerk, Bob Cratchit.
It was a cheerful sight to see the Cratchit family at their Christmas dinner. Bob and his 4 children cried out in delight as Mrs. Cratchit brought in the steaming plum pudding with holly stuck on top. But most of all, old Scrooge, standing invisible with the spirit, noticed Tiny Tim, who wore braces and carried a crutch, and sat close to his father's side. After dinner, Bob Cratchit proposed a toast to Mr. Scrooge, but Mrs. Cratchit said, oh, who would want to drink the health of such a horrible, stingy old man as Mr. Scrooge? But this was Christmas, and so they all drank a toast. And Tiny Tim said, God bless us, everyone. But old Scrooge saw their faces look glum for the first time at the thought of wishing him a Merry Christmas. At the stroke of 1 on the 3rd night, the spirit of Christmas yet to come appeared, and bade Ebenezer Scrooge,
Walk with me through the city,
See the changes in the shops and shopkeepers. Listen, they're talking about you, about mean, bitter old Scratch who has just died.
When Scrooge realized they were talking about him, he cried,
No, no, take me somewhere else.
Next the spirit led him to Bob Cratchit's house, and Scrooge saw the empty chair that poor little Tiny Tim had sat in.
Tell me, gentle spirit, are these the shadows of things that will really happen, or are they things that only may happen?
The spirit was silent.
Good spirit, I've learned a lesson. I see now that I may find happiness only by kindness to others. You have my word. I'll honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year.
Next morning, Ebenezer Scrooge awoke a changed man. He jumped out of bed, quickly dressed in his best clothes, stopped at the poulterer's to send the Cratchit family a huge turkey.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
He cried everywhere he went, as he made his way to his nephew's house for dinner. Next day at the office, he surprised Bob Cratchit.
Merry Christmas! This Christmas I have a special gift for you. A raise in salary.
Thereafter, Ebenezer became a good friend to everyone, especially to Tiny Tim, who lived on. Scrooge's heart was filled with joy and laughter, and it was always said of him that he knew how to keep the Christmas well.
Comfort and joy, oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
And so, in the words of Tiny Tim, God bless us, everyone.